Lonely woman gets a briefcase as her inheritance. Maya Cole had been betrayed by her husband and her best friend on the same day, left with nothing but silence and a father she barely knew. When the lawyer handed her that worn briefcase, everyone stared like they expected a scene. She opened it anyway, and what she found inside changed everything. Before we go any further, we'd love for you to hit that subscribe button. Your support means a world to us, and it helps us bring you even more powerful stories. Now, let's begin. Maya Cole hit rock bottom quietly. Just a small apartment that was too clean, too quiet, and a woman who moved like she was permanently tired. Her husband, Daniel, had slept with her best friend, Lauren. They had smiled with her at dinners, sent her memes, then gone home and lied. When the truth surfaced, Daniel said he was confused. Lauren said it just happened. He kept the house. Lauren kept most of the friends at work. The whispers finished the job. In the break room, someone said, "Nobody cheats for no reason." Another replied, "Maybe she pushed him away." They did not know she was close enough to hear. Days blurred. She woke, stared at the ceiling, scrolled past happy photos online. Food tasted like nothing. She went to work, came home, and sat on the couch until the room went dark. One gray Tuesday, her phone rang while the TV flickered on mute. Unknown number. She almost let it ring out, then answered, "Miss Cole?" A careful voice asked, "My name is Harper. I am calling from Grayson, and Bell regarding your father, Michael Cole." Her grip tightened. She had not spoken to her father in months. "What about him?" she asked. "I am very sorry," Harper said. "Your father passed away last week. You are listed as his next of kin. He left you a personal item in his will. A briefcase. We need you to come in and sign the release. A briefcase. Not a house. Not savings. Just something he carried." Still, the word inheritance landed. It made the loss feel sharp. Her chest felt tight, raw. The next morning, the law office smelled like coffee and paper. People in pressed shirts walked past without looking at her. Harper met her and led her into a small room. Again, "I am sorry for your loss," she said, sliding a form toward her. Then she stepped out and came back with a dark brown leather briefcase. The handle was worn smooth. The clasps were scratched. A small tag showed his initials, MC. "Your father insisted this go only to you," Harper said. When Maya lifted it, the weight surprised her, heavier than it looked. "Do you know what's inside?" she asked. Harper shook her head. "No." He only said it was personal. Maya signed where she was told. Outside, traffic rolled by. Nobody noticed a woman walking with a dead man's briefcase in her hand. Back in her apartment, she set it on the kitchen table. Light slid across the scuff leather. One click, one lift. That was all it would take. Maya stayed standing. "Not yet," she murmured. Maya made coffee she did not want, just to have something to hold, while she stared at the briefcase. Steam curled up, fogging the edge of her vision, but the case stayed in sharp focus like it belonged more to the room than she did. She set the mug down, pulled out a chair, and sat. For a moment, she only rested her fingers on the clasps, feeling the cool metal. Her heart kept a slow, heavy rhythm. "This is stupid," she whispered. "It's just things." She clicked the first class. The sound was small, but cut through the silence. The second class followed. Her fingers hesitated on the lid before she lifted it. Inside lay a stack of papers, an old key on a brass ring, and a sealed envelope with her name in her father's narrow handwriting. No money, no dramatic reveal, just paper and a key. A faint smell of dust and something floral drifted up. It reminded her of the cheap cologne he wore when he tried too hard on birthdays. She picked up the envelope. Her name, Maya, curved across the front like he had taken his time. That bothered her more than the news of his death. Taking your time meant intention. She tore it open along the top, careful not to rip any words. "Kiddo," it began. Only he called her that. Her throat tightened. He wrote that if she was reading this, he was gone, and he was sorry for all he never explained. He admitted what no one had ever told her. He had another family before her, a wife who was not her mother, and children she had never met. He said he had tried to tell her years earlier. Each attempt crashed into her mother's anger and illness, so he stayed quiet and watched both lives split apart. Maya read the lines twice, tried to catch some sign it was a cruel joke. There was none, just as plain honesty. He gave her an address in another town. A woman named Claire Hart, 2 step-siblings, Lily and Owen. He said they knew about her. They wanted to meet her. They were waiting beneath that moor. The family farm he once mentioned like a vague story was real and legally hers as firstborn. Claire and the kids had kept it alive while he was sick. The key in the briefcase belonged to his office there. Important documents he wrote would explain the rest. At the end, his tone shifted. Less clumsy, more direct. I know you feel alone. I know what Daniel and Lauren did. I followed your life from a distance more than you think. You lost a home you built. I am giving you the one I ruined. Go there. Let them help you in all the ways I failed. The words landed like a punch. The room felt smaller. Her pulse hammered in her ears as she stared. Outside, a car alarm briefly wailed, then cut off. In the hallway, a voice said, "She's always crying lately," followed by a softer, "Can you blame her?" Maya folded the letter along its creases, though her hands shook. The briefcase no longer felt like an object. It felt like a dare. Stay where everything was broken, or walk into a life she was never meant to know. The drive to the Hart farm took 3 hours, but it felt longer. Every few miles, Maya checked the letter again, as if the words might rearrange and admit they were a mistake. The road narrowed into long stretches of pasture and thin fences that hummed when the wind hit them. Her palms stayed damp on the wheel. When she reached the gravel driveway, she slowed. A farmhouse stood ahead, white paint fading at the edges, a porch swing shifting from a soft breeze. Someone moved inside. A curtain lifted slightly, then dropped. She parked, stepped out, and wiped her hands on her jeans. The smell of cut grass and distant hay drifted through the air. Her heart thudded once hard. When the front door opened, a woman in her late 50s walked out. Light hair pulled back, pale eyes sharp but warm. Claire Hart. Behind her stood 2 younger adults. Lily, early 20s, arms crossed but curious. Owen, a bit older, gently nudging Lily as if to say, "Relax." Claire spoke first. "You look like him." No hesitation. No testing the waters. Just certainty. Maya's breath caught. "I didn't know he said anything about me." "Oh, he did," Claire said. "More than you'd think." She stepped forward, slow enough not to startle her. "I know this is strange, but we're glad you came." Inside, the house felt lived in. Wooden floors with soft scratches, a faint scent of cinnamon. Photos lined the walls. Some include her father, younger, smiling in ways she'd never seen. They sat in the living room. A clock ticked steadily. No one rushed her. "We knew your mother didn't want contact," Claire said. "We tried once years ago." She sent the letter back, ripped in half. Claire paused, watching Maya carefully. "Your father carried guilt until the end." Lily uncrossed her arms. "He talked about you a lot. Birthdays, school stuff." He kept clippings. Maya blinked. "Clippings." Owen stood up. "We should show her." He returned with another briefcase. Older dust in the seams. He set it in front of her. Her fingers hesitated before lifting the lid. Inside were folders, photos, printed emails, even a tiny newspaper clipping from when she won a spelling bee at 10. She hadn't even remembered that. "He saved all of this," she whispered. "Every piece," Claire said softly. A tight, aching heat spread through her chest. She had spent years believing he didn't care. But this, Owen pointed to a folder labeled farm in thick marker. "This is a business. You own it now legally. We've been managing it, but it's yours." Maya opened it. Deeds, financial logs, notes in her father's handwriting, explaining crop rotations, future plans, and a final page marked for Maya. The instructions were clear. He wanted her to lead, not out of obligation, but because he believed she could. Lily watched her carefully. Voice gentle. "If you want help, we're here. If you want distance, we'll respect that, too." Beneath their words, she caught something else. Hope they weren't threatened. They weren't performing. They genuinely wanted her to stay. Outside, a truck passed slowly, the driver glancing in as though news had already spread. Small-town curiosity. She heard someone shout, "Is that her?" followed by a muffled reply. Maya closed the folder, grounding herself with a slow breath. The house felt steady. The family felt real. And for the first time in months, the shaking inside her eased. She wasn't ready to call it home, but she didn't want to leave. Maya stayed in the guest room that night. She lay awake, listening to the old house breathe, floorboards settling, wind brushing the siding. Somewhere downstairs, Claire humming while she washed dishes. It felt unfamiliar, but not hostile. A quiet she hadn't felt in months. By morning, the sun poured over the fields in long strips of gold. Maya stepped outside, stretching, inhaling air that smelled like dirt dew and something sweet she couldn't place. Owen waved from a barn. "Coffee's inside," he called. "Stronger than it looks." She followed him to the barn, her shoes crunching across gravel. Inside, the air was warm and thick with the scent of hay. Lily was perched on a workbench. Scrolling through her phone, she glanced up, gave a small smile that felt more genuine than the day before. "We start early," Lily said. "Hope you don't mind." Maya walked the length of the barn, running her fingers along a stall door. The wood felt solid, grounded. She needed that. Claire arrived with a clipboard. "If you want to understand the business, you need the full picture, not just documents." They spent the morning moving through each section of the farm. Every person they met reacted the same way. Surprised, curious, whispering lightly when they thought she couldn't hear. "That's the daughter. She looks like Michael. Thought she lived far." None of it sounded cruel. Just small-town minds processing new information. At noon, they gathered in the office her father once used. Dust on the windowsills, a faint trace of his cologne, still clinging to the wood. Maya opened the top drawer. Inside was another letter, her name on the front. She sat, heart racing, and unfolded it carefully. "Maya, if you're reading this, then the truth finally reached you. I failed you in ways I thought time would fix. I couldn't undo the pain between your mother and me. I couldn't force peace, but I could leave you something stable. These people love you without meeting you. Let them." Her hands trembled as she set the letter down. Claire touched the edge of the desk. He wrote that during his final weeks. "I found it in a drawer and kept it safe." Maya swallowed, forcing her voice steady. "He thought I'd actually come. He hoped," Claire said. "He always hoped." Later, they walked the fields in slow silence. Sun pressed warm against Ma's back. She listened as Owen explained the irrigation layout, his tone patient. Lily chimed in with small corrections, rolling her eyes when he exaggerated a detail. It felt normal, a rhythm forming. When they reached the far fence, Maya stopped. "Why didn't you contact me yourselves?" Claire studied her for a moment. "Your mother's anger scared us off. We didn't want to make things worse for you, but we never stopped wanting you here." A soft breeze tugged at Mia's shirt. For a second, she felt something shift inside her. Not quite trust, not quite peace, but close. They headed back toward the house, passing two neighbors leaning on a pickup. One whispered, "Looks like the new owner's here." The other replied, "Hope she's better at management than her dad." It wasn't said cruelly, just bluntly, the way small towns delivered honesty without sugar. Inside, Claire made lunch. Maya helped, chopping vegetables. Feeling the unfamiliar ease of working beside people who didn't judge her for existing, Owen nudged her lightly. "You're doing great. Dad would have been proud." The word stuck. Not painful, not comforting, something heavier. That evening they sat on the porch, the sky turning orange. Fireflies flickered in the tall grass. Lily handed Mia a glass of lemonade, then said quietly, "You don't have to decide anything tonight, but you're not alone here." The sentence landed with more weight than Maya expected. She wasn't alone. Not anymore. Weeks passed quietly. Mia settled into a slow routine that didn't demand perfection, only presence. She learned the land, the rhythm of staff meetings, the paperwork her father once handled alone. Claire guided gently. Lily teased her into laughing again, and Owen treated her like she had always belonged. The panic that had lived under her skin since Daniel's betrayal faded. She noticed it one morning while drinking coffee on the porch. Her shoulders weren't tense. Her breath wasn't shallow. She felt steady. A supplier named Grant visited the farm that afternoon. Confident, warm voice, easy smile. He spoke to her like she mattered, not like she was broken. They reviewed contracts, walked the field edges, and he listened when she asked questions. Really listened. As he left, he paused by his truck. If you ever want help expanding distribution, call me. You got potential here. The small nod he gave held respect, not pity. She felt it. That night, the family ate dinner together. Conversation moved lightly. The clatter of dishes soft in the background. Maya realized she hadn't checked her phone once. She didn't need escape anymore. Later, she stood outside under the dim porch light. The field stretched out in quiet rows, steady and patient. She thought of the letter, the briefcase, the truth her father never said aloud. He hadn't been perfect. He hadn't been brave in every moment. But he left her something solid, something alive, and he left her people willing to stand beside her. The wind carried a faint scent of hay as she whispered, "I'm okay." And for the first time, it was true.